Hi, welcome. Today we're joined by President Svetlana from Belarus. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Please tell us about your current visit.
So this time it's my fourth visit to UN General Assembly. My task here is to raise awareness about the situation in Belarus. Maybe not many people know that for 5 years already, since 2020 fraudulent elections, when dictator lost actual elections but refused to step away, he unleashed the most brutal terror our country experienced for decades. Until now, repressions are continuing. So I want the world to know about the situation. I want the world to know that we have at least 1,300 political prisoners, that dictator Lukashenko is selling our independence to Russia, that dictator dragged our country into the war and made Belarus country co-aggressor. But I'm so glad that world society distinguished regime from the people, because people are on the side of Ukraine in this war. We are pro-European nation. We want to return to a European family of countries. And also, of course, we are talking always about Ukraine, because the Ukrainian victory will have huge impact on many countries, including Belarus.
What role do universities and students in Belarus have in changing the government?
For 5 years, our society, including, of course, young generation and students, are heavily suppressed by the regime. If you have opinion opposing to the regime, if you are saying anti-war laws, if you donate to Ukrainian army, if you ask questions about this war to your teachers in universities, you recognized as enemy of this regime. So it's really very difficult to study. In Belarus, you can, but you have to do it silently. No free voices. All the media in Belarus are, all free media liquidated. We managed to restore their broadcasting from abroad, but in Belarus, people in safe mode.
Right.
Just hating regime, wanting changes but cannot be loud because level of repressions is awful, like in Stalin's time. So, but of course, we encourage students, to not to be addicted, to this propaganda, to learn the world through internet, and that's why free media is so important. Also, we are trying to supply at least, tens of students with scholarships abroad, because when we don't want our students to be poisoned with the propaganda,
right.
And usually regime repeats that West is rotten, their values mean nothing, that the Western countries live awfully, and we want people to travel and to see the world, to see that really democracy is powerful, freedom means prosperity, and
right.
We want Belarus to be like all these democratic countries that take care about people, not about their power only.
How can we from the West, from the United States, from Europe, NATO itself, how can we help you?
So there are, of course, different ways. First of all, not to overlook Belarus, because sometimes the Belarusian case is lost among bigger issues, bigger problems, and it's our task, of course, to remind the world about Belarusian case. But we attract attention to dictators. The dictators made alliances. They are opposing democracy. They are undermining democratic values. And we, just on the example of Belarus, we can easily show how, if you don't cherish democracy, if you just don't pay attention what government is doing, you can easily lose democracy,
right.
Even in the blink of the eye. Or also keep pressure on dictators. Dictators cannot be re-educated. Dictators cannot be appeased. Dictators can only be fought. And democracy
right.
has teeth and enough power to beat dictators. Just we need boldness, we need principled position, we need firm position. So in the case of Belarus, we ask to keep pressure on the regime politically, economically, continue the policy of non-recognition, continue supporting and building formal relationship with democratic movement of Belarus. We actually recognized as legitimate representatives of Belarus, and thank you for having boldness to call me president-elect, because
sure.
in 2020 I won elections,
right.
but Lukashenko refused to go. but also suppression on the regime, but support people. It's so important to understand that you are not one-to-one with the dictator, that there are alliance of countries who are supporting you, who are investing in you, who understand that free, democratic, independent Belarus is in the interest not only of Belarusian people, but also of the whole region. And one more request. Belarus is not only a humanitarian case where people are detained, where regime is terrorizing a nation. It's also part of security, stability of the whole region. Without free Belarus, while dictator is there, it will be launching pad for Russia. It will be constant provocations on the borders with migrants. It will be deployment of nuclear weapon. It will be threat to Ukraine. So only, cutting the problem, will help Belarusian to become reliable partners to democratic world.
I just want to also congratulate you on your husband's release recently. Can you share that experience and then your current visit in the U.S.?
So my husband was detained in 2020. He was ordinary blogger who just used to travel around the country asking ordinary people, what do you think about Belarus? Maybe some improvement. What do you want from government? And he became very popular, and because of this, regime detained him to prison. And my husband declared about his presidential ambitions that I want to participate because people are asking me. And he was detained. He could not give his documents, and I was ordinary housewife, but I decided to run instead of him because he's in jail just for love to my husband, for love to my country, and I won elections. So KGB forced me to leave the country the next day after elections, and since then I live in Lithuania. That's why I'm so grateful to, because Lithuania and Poland, our neighbors, they are really helpful, to Belarusians in our fight, taking, Belarusian refugees. But he spent 5 years in jail. 5 years in solitary confinement, and political prisoners in Belarusian prisons are treated so awfully. They're deprived of normal food, deprived of hygienic issues. We have many women as political prisoners. Honestly speaking, the last 2.5 years, my husband was incommunicado mode. I didn't know if he's alive. No communication. But with the efforts of President Trump, and we are so grateful for these efforts, my husband was released with some more people. About 100 people have been released. Of course, at least 1,300 remains behind bars at the moment. And of course, we encourage President Trump administration, State Department to continue these humanitarian releases from Belarus. But he was heavily tortured psychologically. He was physically exhausted, but he wasn't broken. When he was released, he jumped into the fight just to support Belarus and support our fight. His goals haven't changed, in prison, though constant propaganda tried to persuade him that the world has forgotten about you, nobody cares, you will die here. So they believe, they hope, and they know that democratic world is powerful enough, to sustain, to keep their principal position, and together we will manage to ruin this regime in Belarus.
Excellent. What areas can New York investors invest in Ukraine post-dictatorship?
Look, now we are asking big, small businesses.
And not only Ukraine, Belarus as well, because post-war, there's going to be a reconstruction, and as well in Belarus, you're going to need to have investments probably in a lot of sectors.
Okay, of course, we have, with the Ukraine, we have rather different situations, because in Ukraine, war is going on. The enterprises are ruined, the cities are ruined, and of course, they will need a huge amount of investments in the future and support, But in Belarus, we also have to rebuild our economy. Because Belarus is the only post-Soviet Union countries where there was no process of privatization. All enterprises belong to state, to Lukashenko, to dictate. It's his pockets. So we have to go through the process of privatization. We have to make conditions suitable for new investments. Because now in Belarus, if you have rather big business, regime is interested in your business, they can put the CEO or director of this business to jail on
Right.
some economic issues and just grab
Right.
this business. So businesses don't feel safe in Belarus. And as I said, after changes, our country has to be suitable and according to law. New businesses will come, and already now we are communicating to many global businesses, just trying to persuading them not to invest in Belarus now while Lukashenko is there, but to be prepared
Right.
to invest after changes, because we really will need to rebuild what Lukashenko has been ruining for all these years and make Belarus prosperous, the country that is attractive for new investors. We have wonderful geographical position, very profitable, and we have to use it in full. But all the profits have to go to the people, not to the pockets of the regime.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us
you.
today. Pleasure meeting you. Today we were joined by the President of Belarus, Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya. Thank you.
Thank you.